In a reversal on Tuesday, the House of Representatives scrapped plans to return to the Capitol next week, and they're deciding to maintain social distancing in accordance with the Capitol physician's recommendation because of the coronavirus epidemic. So CBS News political reporter Grace Segers is joining me now because here's the thing, Grace. Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says his chamber, the Senate, is ready to reconvene next Monday. What's going on between the House of Representatives and the Senate? They got a different set of guidelines?
Well, it's interesting because the attending physician for the Capitol, it works for both the Senate and the House. So in theory, the guidelines that he has would go for both the Senate and the House. And the House is saying, well, we're going to stick with distancing guidelines and make sure that it's safe for not only the members of Congress, but the people who work in the Capitol. Now, McConnell and Republican senators argue that instead, members of Congress are essential workers, and they need to be in Congress to be working on behalf of the people and passing more legislation to assist in the coronavirus relief. So it's really about a difference in perspective on what is most important at this time for Congress.
So let me ask you, Grace, about the next round of economic relief legislation. What do we know so far about the so-called CARES Act 2 package?
As per usual, we know what the Democrats want and what the Republicans want, and those things aren't necessarily compatible. So Democrats have really argued for the next round of legislation to include additional funding to assist state and local governments, because a lot of states are really struggling because of the economic toll that the coronavirus has taken. And Republicans have been kind of wary of that proposal. McConnell himself has said that he doesn't want to bail out states. He seems to be warming up to that idea, but he has put in a request of his own, which is that the next round of legislation include liability protection for businesses and for healthcare workers, so that once businesses come back online or in open, he wants people to not be able to sue them easily. But liability protection is a sticking point for Democrats. So you have this normal back and forth between the two, and I think that you're going to see it takes a little while before they come to an agreement.
So there have been oversight groups sort of taking a look at the Trump administration's response to the coronavirus and the distribution of funding from congressional packages. Tell me a little bit more about the Pandemic Response Accountability Committee. What's that committee doing?
So that committee was established by the first CARES Act, and it includes 21 members from offices of inspectors general across the federal government. And that is meant to look over how the money, this $2 trillion, is being implemented. Now, there was a bit of a slowdown when President Trump removed the person who had been tapped to be the chair. But the group has just selected a new executive director. They have yet to choose a new chair, but they're still in the process of forming. Then we also see that in the House, Speaker Pelosi has designated a bipartisan committee to also oversee how the CARES Act is implemented, and that was approved in a resolution by the House last week.
Grace, real quick before we let you go, as U.S. lawmakers are also working from home, just like we're working from home, how have they been adjusting to it? Have you noticed, besides the fact that they're probably using Zoom a lot more like we are, how business is being done in Washington in the midst of this pandemic?
Yeah, I've spoken to a couple of lawmakers, and they've talked about how they're using Facebook Live and Instagram Live to connect with their constituents. I also think it's really interesting to look at how they're connecting with each other. So the House in particular is investigating how it can use virtual technology to hold committee meetings. So holding committee meetings by video conference, by phone conference, because the House isn't coming back next week and the committees still need to do their work. So they're investigating how that would work, how to do it safely, and how they can continue to do their work for the people, even if they can't be in the same physical location.
All right, Grace, thank you so much.
Thank you.